Go, Jesse, come on!
Are you guys insane? We're gonna finish this film. We are going to be famous. Get back here! Come on, do it for Horatio.
We are talking American Zombieland, also known as Fat Ass Zombies. Now this could be a comparable film to the likes of Shaun of the Dead, but more importantly, obviously Zombieland. So what's the story? It takes place in a small Texan town, with this town only really being notable for the producer of making these kind of cakes, these sweet biscuits that are kind of got chocolate and stuff on them. And that's its main claim to fame at this point. Now within this town there's the guy there who's an amateur filmmaker, and he is trying to make a variety of zombie films that keep getting rejected through, you know, the festivals and things like that. However, these cakes actually have some type of ingredient that turn people into real zombies. So our main character gets his group of friends, his misfit group of friends, obviously to try and survive, but also he has the idea that at the same time to try and make a movie out of these real zombies that are happening at this time. And he used the film within the film, if you like, is called Fat Ass Zombies, because they try to use fat zombies because they feel that they're going to be safer to run away from and things like this. So he tries to kind of setting up all these variety of shots and sequences using the real zombies that are currently in this American town, using his friends as actors, so to speak. What will happen? You'll have to watch the movie to find out. Let's talk about what works. So, as I've mentioned, this movie has definite influences from Shaun of the Dead. There are a couple of sequences there. For example, one early sequence, they all decide to go to a pub, much like the kind of the Winchester, and hold up there. But primarily, obviously, it's Zombieland. Obviously, you had the Twinkies in the first movie. You have a lot of kind of references that are very similar to the mainstream movie Zombieland, and maybe a little bit too much. I feel this maybe leans a little too heavily into that. But if you did enjoy Zombieland and you don't mind lower budget movie, because this movie is obviously considerably lower budget, then you may find some enjoyment here. I have to say there are a few jokes that actually I thought did land for me. The movie is punctuated with a few kind of fake commercials and things like this. One I found particularly funny is one where you have the Democrats. They're saying adopt a Republican, basically like adopt a what they call it, a redneck, things like this. And there's a few jokes for me that I found that did work. Many that didn't, but there's one or two that I did find genuinely kind of funny. The cast is quite big, maybe too so. We have a lot of protagonists, obviously, making up the film crew. So we do have a big group of kind of protagonist kind of characters to follow here, and some of them do get lost in the shuffle. But nonetheless, it does kind of add to the scale here. We're not talking like a group of 5 people. We're talking a group of like 25, 30 people for the most part. So yeah, there are inevitably kind of some get kind of lost in the shuffle, but there are a few kind of characters. There's these 2 brothers that are kind of martial arts instructors that were quite fun. Some of them again are a little bit kind of over goofy, but nonetheless there are still some kind of amusing moments here and there. The zombies themselves, I've got to say, look a bit of a mixed bag, but some actually do look quite good, and there are some kind of gore effects. I actually quite liked some of the change of mythology in the I don't want to go into what it is, but they do kind of change up the zombie mythology a little bit in regards to transmission and things like this, and a couple of other bits, which I actually thought was quite fun to have maybe a little bit of a different spin, a bit of variation on the kind of the tried and tested kind of zombie genre. And we do have a variety of kind of locales here. They kind of want to try and have shots in various different locations to obviously make the movie more interesting, things like that, or the movie within the movie. So we do kind of see a few kind of action set pieces, and we do get a variety of zombie attacks, certainly within the first half. Maybe the first half is a little slow, which kind of leads me into the more maybe the negative points. I feel the humour itself, as a concept is, you know, it's not going to be for everyone. People are going to have different sort of styles of sense of humour. And when you're watching someone's vision, which obviously has one particular type of humour, it's not going to be for everyone. And like I said, even though I did find a couple of jokes did land for me, I found a lot of it very, very juvenile. Now, if you think about its contemporaries in regards to the movie that it's trying to ape, i.e. Zombieland and Shaun of the Dead, they were well-crafted films with, you know, jokes that were kind of set up and had payoffs and things like this. This particular movie is more just slapstick kind of humour. Doesn't do anything too kind of sophisticated with its kind of with its humour here. It hits a couple of times, but if you throw, you know, enough shit at the wall, some of it's going to stick. But there are, you know, to be honest with you, there's a lot of juvenile humour here. The characters as well just seemed a little bit too cartoonish. Even though this is clearly a tongue-in-cheek horror comedy, the characters just seem, well, some of them at least, seem a little bit too cartoonish. Which is juxtaposed to a couple of them, which are a bit more. There's one called Pam, for example, who's played dead straight. But some of them, like one of his kind of best friend with his bad dye job, again, just a little bit OTT, little bit too parody almost at times. I've got to say, our main character, they do kind of address it a little bit, but because he's putting people at danger to make his film, he comes across as a his motivation is selfish. So he's not a particular character you can kind of root behind, and he's meant to be this kind of put upon guy, but because he's obviously getting people to do things for selfish means, it doesn't make for a particularly kind of likeable kind of main character, even though the movie does try and address that. I don't know if it fully succeeds. The gore is a little bit lacking in, to be honest with you. It's a little bit just kind of like a little bit of prosthetic kind of rips and things and bloods. There are some zombie makeups which just looks like zombie makeup, to be honest with you, painted on blood in the face, things like that. And the concept of the film within the film is actually underutilised, if I'm completely honest. We really don't see all that much of it. And the concept of these, you know, these fat-ass zombies, again, it doesn't. We get a couple of people like that, but the zombies seem to be just a mixed bunch, to be honest. So again, it has ideas, but it doesn't really kind of utilise them, I feel, particularly well. So it's a kind of okay film, but I don't think it really hits on all cylinders at any point. But it's kind of if you like zombie kind of horror comedies, it's a lower tier one, absolutely. It does not get anywhere near the movies that it's certainly trying to replicate, but there is some enjoyment value here, and I kind of quite liked some of the fresh ideas that it did bring, even though I don't know if it could have done more with them. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. It's just okay. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment, and I shall look forward to you next time. Bye for now.